Hi, it's Sunena, and welcome to my video on why eating with hands is healthy and how to eat Indian food with your hands. So I'll be explaining the benefits as well as giving you a demonstration on exactly how to eat Indian food with your hands. So the first thing to know is that when you begin to use your hands, your fingers, on the food that you're eating, either to prepare it or to prepare your bite, and we're going to talk about that when I give you the demonstration on how we prepare our bite. But when you start touching the food with your fingertips, it begins to alert your brain that you're going to be expecting food. Also, the sensory pads start giving information to your brain on the type of food it is, so that your brain can release the appropriate enzymes and other things that help in our digestive process. So this process has begun to benefit you before you've even put the food in your mouth. The second benefit is that it aligns with your mindfulness processes, which aids in digestion. It helps connect you with the food that you're about to eat. Additionally, it engages all of your senses. And this is really important because it makes it an experience, a robust experience. So rather than just tasting what is on the fork, you're tasting much more than that, and we're going to be talking about that too, because there's flora and fauna in your fingertips, and adding the flora and fauna to the food actually gives you a benefit because it aids in mixing with these digestive juices and makes for more of God's grand plan for our digestion to actually occur. Digestion isn't just the placement of one particular food item in the mouth and the swallowing. There's a whole process by which we can engage our senses, our flora and fauna, our attention and our mindfulness, our gratitude, our connection with the food. And now we're going to talk about the elements. When it comes to the elements, we are incorporating all of them into the food by our fingers. So we begin with the thumb, and the thumb is Agni, which is fire. So when you're using your thumb in the process, you're including that element of fire. And next we go to the pointer finger, which is Varun, and Varun is air. And so when we are using this, along with the thumb, we're including the fire and the air, right? And then we go to Akash, and Akash is ether. And so we're including the ether. Can you guess what the ring finger might be? Clue, it connects to the heart, and it connects to the heart because it's Prithvi, it's earth, right? So we've got fire, and we've got air, and we've got ether, and we've got earth, and then the last one is jal, which is water. So we've got jal, the pinky. So when you are using your fingers to either tear or scoop, but most importantly, and we're going to talk about this when it comes to the rice, to mash in the food with the rice, you're incorporating all of these 5 elements into your food. And that's something that you don't get with utensils. I mean, you can get metal, but there's a real benefit to invoking all of the elements, and then all of that flora, fauna, all of the digestive juices we've already got going. You can already see how it's much more of a robust experience. Now, not only do these healthy flora and fauna safeguard the body from the onslaught of digestive bacteria, but also eating with the hands boosts our digestive system's natural immunity to ecological bacterial germs. So we're really doing ourselves a favor here. Not only that, but we can also prevent the burning of a tongue. Your hands can work as temperature sensors as well. And so when people eat with forks or spoons, they often don't realize how hot the food is. But when we touch the food prior to eating it, the nerve endings give us a temperature reading, give our brain a temperature reading that stops us from burning our tongue. Eating with the fingers, since they are connected with different chakras as well, can stimulate our own chakra system for those who are familiar with that. And eating with the hands also increases your blood circulation. So this is an absolutely wonderful tool for digestion as well as blood circulation. And it also prevents you from eating too much, both because you're slowing down the rate at which you're eating because you're taking time to prepare bites. You're not just shoveling food into your mouth. You're taking that time, but also because you're measuring out, and we'll talk about that when we get to the demonstration, about measuring out bite-sized food to put into your mouth. Now, because statistically eating too fast has been linked to type 2 diabetes, that's also a benefit of eating with your hands, as a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. And lastly, but certainly not least, it's natural. This is how people have eaten for far longer than they've eaten with utensils. Quite honestly, history shows us that eating with your hands is the most natural way to eat food. It's how God intended it for us to eat food, and it's how humans have been eating food since they've been on the planet, whether they have utensils or not. Because of course utensils exist, and still billions of people choose not to incorporate utensils in their eating in various different cultures all around the world today in 2020. It's a beautiful practice, and I hope you'll join us. Next, I'll attempt to demonstrate gracefully how to eat with your hands. So here I have a plate of food, and this is rice with a little bit of chicken, with a little bit of lentils, and I'm going to show you how to eat this. The first thing though is to make sure we wash our hands and that we have trimmed nails, okay? Once we've washed our hands and we have trimmed nails, then we go ahead and create our bite. Now in Indian food, it's very common to go ahead and mix the entree in with the rice. It's also very common to mix the lentils in with the rice. And now you can kind of see the temperature of the food, as well as what I'm doing here is I'm kind of mashing the food in together a little bit, breaking it apart, releasing all the flavors. You can kind of hear it too, right? You can kind of hear that. Now this makes a difference because I have taste tested. When I first started learning about this, I was in my early 20s, maybe mid 20s. And I actually taste tested to see if food that you eat with your hands tastes better than food that you eat with a spoon. And sure enough, I found that it did. So once you've mashed your food, and you don't have to mash it, but I am going to tell you, it tastes so much better to eat this bite here than any of these bites here, because this has been mashed together with all of the flora and fauna and the elements. So I'm going to take this amount right here and I'm going to make it into like a little, not really a ball, but just like a small amount. And so once you put this amount, once you've mushed it and you pick it up, you use your thumb and you're able to then kind of push it into your mouth, right? So I've got the camera pointed at the plate, but I'm going to try to show you how that would work. So mushing the food together and blending the flavors is one of the things that I love about eating Indian food. You can get really creative with the blend of flavors that you put together. But I absolutely love eating food this way because it tastes like comfort. as opposed to eating the food on the rest of the plate. And I invite you to do the taste test. Mix some together with your hands and then try scooping it into your mouth, right? Then try just taking like a regular bite like this that I haven't really mashed together. Taste it. Not as good. I mean, it's delicious, don't get me wrong. But there's just something a little extra added. And when you grow up in an Indian household and you have somebody come and lovingly create and mash a bite for you that has all of the components that you like in it, right? And then feed you, it's completely different when someone feeds you with their hands versus when someone feeds you any other way. And one of my favorite relationships that I've ever been in was in a relationship with somebody who was not afraid to feed me with his hands. And the absolute love that transpires is something that I wish for you to experience yourself. So may somebody feed you with their hands lovingly. And I'm going to make another video with some flatbread to show you how to actually eat Indian food using the flatbread. So thanks for joining me. Look forward to the next section. I am going to quickly show you what it looks like from this end to feed yourself a bite. So you got your scoop in your hands, right? You got your scoop in there, and you're going to use your thumb, right? And that is how you eat with your hands. So here we have some paneer makhani and some paratha. I did tear off a piece of the paratha. It's round, maybe a little bit smaller than this plate, so I tore off a piece to put in my plate. And what I'm going to show you is how to eat it. So you tear off a piece of paratha. Now, if you're a bigger person, you might want a bigger piece. Paratha or roti or whatever, and then you're going to use this to scoop the food. So I'm going to do this, and I will have grabbed the food in the paratha. I'm just going to pop that in my mouth. Again, I'm going to take this. This is a bigger piece to show you a little bit bigger bite. I'm going to scoop it. And again, don't be afraid to get that food on your fingers, because what happens when fingers touch food? You're putting all the elements in, right? And I'm ready for my next bite. And that is how you eat with paratha or roti or naan. Scoop. Oh, this bite looks so good. Yum, yum, yum. And then the last thing that I want to tell you about is sort of the order of how to eat things. Just with respect to the entree, you've seen me eat with bread. You've seen me eat with rice. You don't really do both at the same time. Normally, you'll put the entree in your plate and then eat with the flatbread, whatever flatbread you choose, until you're done with flatbread. Maybe you might have two. Some people might have more. Generally, two is kind of normal, like 2 rotis or chapatis or parathas. Then, when you're done, you put the rice in your plate and mix the entree with the rice and eat that. And, of course, lentils are had with both, either the bread, well, first the bread and then the rice. And the reason for that is, they make the chapatis or the rotis, and you have a certain amount and you split them with the family. But then the rice is kind of that added calorie, right, that fills you up. So you're eating the wheat and the entree, and then when you're done with that, if you're still hungry, the rice adds that bulk, that calorie to fill you up in your belly. And that's kind of the way that it's done. And then by the time someone is eating rice, they're no longer eating bread. So you'll often be asked how many rotis or chapatis you want. And then after you're done eating your chosen number, you'll just have the rest of what's left in your plate, the main dish and the lentils, perhaps even some yogurt, perhaps even some pickle might all be in your plate, and you'll finish those off with the rice. So enjoy your Indian food and leave me comments and let me know how your experience was. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell because I've got all kinds of good videos. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.